Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another Getting Started with Warhammer 40k video. Now, as per usual, with all these videos, if you like them, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop me a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys. It goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, with this series of video, obviously we are looking at every core faction from the 41st millennium in good old Warhammer 40k, and we are trying to build a small army on a small budget. So we're seeing what you can get, or what more to be precise, what I personally would pick if I were using a budget of £200 to start a new army. Now, the prices that we are taking from Warhammer.com, and we are taking them from a third-party retailer. For this series of videos, we are using Wayland Games, but of course, always shop around. There are plenty of other great retailers out there, such as Element Games, Goblin Gaming, Leodis Games, and many more to find, to pick out and, yeah, spend your money with. You know, they're independently run. Why not? Maybe you have an independent near you. Either way, if they can give this stuff for you, it's some pretty good stuff that you can get hold of, and yeah, it's good stuff. So obviously we're using a theoretical budget of £200. This is my personal choice, so sometimes I'm going purely off the aesthetics of the minis and not going off their utility. So obviously there will be some things that people disagree with me from, and then there will also be, you know, people saying don't recommend this to a newbie because, you know, painting it's a pain. However, you know, it's entirely up to you. Paint how you want to paint. That is my grand motto, really, with all of this. But anyway, I'm rambling on a bit. I suppose we should really get cracking on, because we've already seen Leagues of Votan, we've seen the Thousand Suns, we've seen the Space Marines, we've seen the Space Wolves, we've seen the Eldari, and a few other factions in between. So now we need to crack on and have a look at a few more of them, and yeah, enjoy ourselves and see what random crap I can kind of try to talk people around into buying for factions that I probably would never buy. Anywho, so firstly, we are actually going to start off with another Chaos faction. We're going to go off with the followers of Nurgle in the shape of the Death Guard. So, as per usual, we take a combat patrol box. They're pretty good. It contains a good number of minis for this one. So first off, we get Typhus, Herald of the Plague God, who is pretty damn cool looking. We get a Biologus Putrefier, also pretty cool looking. We get 7 of the wonderful Plague Marines. And then, in all honesty, we get a very nice, healthy 30 Pox Walkers, which they are your chaff unit. However, 30 of them is really good because that gives us a mini count of 39 for £85, which is really good considering you take a box of standard Space Marines but cost you 35 to 40 quid and you're getting, I don't know, 5-10 minis in there. So this is an absolute steal. If you take, for instance, the new Callus and Toll box you can get for Age of Sigmar, it's like 5-6 minis, and it's 40 quid. So this is a bargain, although you're getting a lot of units that look identical because of the Poxwalkers look very similar to each other. It's a very uniform look to them, but really good. I personally would pick this completely and be very happy with it, in my opinion. Now, the other thing I would get is I would add in another hero unit, and that is I would add Lord Theltheus and the Tainted Cohort. It's an online only kit, but for how much you're paying for this, you could buy just Typhus on his own, or you could have these 4 minis. So it's, you know, a really good value kit, in all honesty, and yeah, genuinely nice and enjoyable and something different and unique and gives you something really nice looking. Then I would be adding another hero unit in all honesty as well, and that's in the space shape of the Plague Space Marine champion. In all honesty, it's a really nice looking mini, and it's a mini that holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts because you get that wonderful sassy Nurgling mini in there, which is pretty cool, and I think people would happily buy it just for the sassy Nurgling, in all honesty, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people have. Anyway, moving on, I would also be taking some more of a tougher units in the shape of the Blightlord Terminators. You get 5 minis. They look pretty good. They have some pretty good build options as well, so some alternative build types and such like that, depending on what you want your loadouts to be for these guys. And we still have some money left over. So because we have a little bit of money left over, I would actually take one of the oddly named Mythic Blight Haulers. I probably said that wrong, and someone will correct me, I'm sure. It's a horrendous combination of machine and putrid meat, but it is a dirt cheap unit to take. Worth picking up just to give you that model count and keep that going, but otherwise it's the cheapest unit that you're probably going to get for a long time, and you're going to find it really difficult to find something as cheap as to fill that gap. So if you were going to buy this combination of units to start your plague-spreading, chaos-worshipping army, it would set you back £196 if you're buying it directly from Games Workshop. If you were to buy it from an independent retailer, you're talking around about the £162 mark, and it gives you an army with a points value of around about 870. So it's not a bad start. Obviously there are better starts in terms of points values, but you're getting a pretty decent amount of units out of it. So, and in all honesty, Lord Felthius and the Tainted Cohort is a pretty good bargain. So definitely worth picking up. And yeah, it's a decent army if you like your Nurgly stuff. Then we are going to move on. We're going to move on quickly to the evil alien robot Lords of Death in the shape of the Necrons. So, this combat patrol box of insane robot Death Lords, we get a Necron Overlord armed with a Tracheon arrow. We get a nice tool boy in the shape of a Carnaptek Doomstalker. We then get 3 Scorpek Destroyers. And then we get 10 of the generic Necron Warriors, and of course the 3 Scarab Swarms that accompany them. So, if you collected Imperial Magazine, in all honesty, you have pretty much all of them units. Apart from the Overlord with Tracheon Arrow, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, but not too bad. In all honesty, most of his Necron list you have, if you picked up good old Imperial Magazine and saw it all the way through, you will have pretty much all of these units, because it's the way the magazine worked. But yeah, some good bits and some bad bits, and the Necrons aren't too bad. They're easy to paint, so yeah, why not? Then carrying on the trend of obviously stuff that we get from Imperial Magazine, I'd pick up a box of Death Marks. The snipers, you can build them as Immortals if you wanted to. That's what Imperial Magazine wanted us to do, in all honesty, which is why for Imperial Magazine, when I was collecting it, I picked up 2 copies of this issue, so I could have Death Marks and I could have the good old Immortals. I think I've built the Death Marks and not painted them yet, and the Immortals still haven't been built. But anyway, you can do that with that one box, which are pretty cool, and they're not too bad. It just depends on which weapon you would prefer out of the 2. Then, obviously, for the sheer insanity of what they can do and everything and how vicious they are, Flayed Ones, I would always take Flayed Ones. These guys love to slash your enemies up with their claws, and they're a little bit nuts. They're wearing scraps of human skin, so, yeah, bit of fun, ain't it? Why not? And then, lastly, I would take a box of the Triarch Praetorians. So, 5 minis in this box. You can also build them as Lich Guard, which is what Imperial Magazine wanted you to do with them. They're pretty cool. I do quite like these guys. They look a little bit more unique and they stand out a bit better, but it's up to you how you want to go about doing it, but not too bad. So this army, if you were going to be buying it, would set you back £190. So it's one of the cheapest from Warhammer.com. So it's a pretty good combination of units. So you got some good range stuff, you got some close range stuff in the shape of the good old Flayed Ones. So it's not too bad. It's pretty good. Now, if you were going to buy that, obviously £190 from Warhammer.com, £152-ish from a third-party retailer, which is pretty good value. And it gives you an iconic army of the 41st millennium, and it's around about 715 points, depending on loadouts and such like, that you can utilise with this one. It's not too bad. Obviously there are a lot more that you could do with it, but it's entirely up to you how you want to pay them. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. Bit of fun, isn't it, really? Anywho, moving on, that is it. So, that's another 2 armies in the bag from the 41st millennium. Obviously, there are a lot more minis to pick. Obviously, everybody's going to change them, have different opinions to what I'm going to have. I will never try to say that I have the best opinion when it comes to minis. This is just what I personally would pick, and yeah, it's up to you how you see that, use that information, in all honesty. Anyway, thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.